don't have a bit to start this one off with, like at all. I've barely had time to process what even happened in session. I've even processed the fact that we had a session to begin with. So I'm just gonna jump straight into it. Let's freaking go. So before I actually explain what happened in the session, I need to first talk about the deathmatch that Eve has put us in, and I need to kind of explain the rules, and then everything that's happening later on is going to actually, make sense. So everyone that is in the deathmatch is in a team. There are 4 people per team, and there are 32 people total. It's chess again, because you know how DFW is. I think every contestant was given some sort of seashell-like contraption, and whenever you clamp one of these things onto a person, that makes the person disappear, and whatever objects they were holding also disappear with them. You get 2 points for eliminating someone with the seashell, and you get 4 points for actually murdering somebody. All the items of the contestants have been kept in a bone cage, which is in the center of this arena, so nobody has any of their belongings except, whatever was directly on their bodies and couldn't be taken off. Also, a bunch of animals are kept in a stable that is in this arena. Desire, Puppy, and Fidus are visible in the stables. Leech isn't noted to be here, and Tony is nowhere to be found. I know for a fact that this is a retcon, because I remember last session, it was specifically all of the more equine animals that we could see, and Fidus and Leech weren't around, and that's changed a little bit here. That's not a big deal. It turned out to be kind of funny in the end. No problem whatsoever. By the way, Eve also said that this whole competition is a sort of last man standing sort of thing, and whoever wins is going to get all of the belongings in the cage. Now, being for real, it's probably not last man standing and more like last team standing, but the fact that she worded it as last man standing will be important later on. So, finally, getting into what actually happened in Session 5, we're going to start out with the Rover. Rover dreams of himself in the butcher shop. Somewhere off in the background, he can hear Roland and Fizz. I think they're chatting to each other. It's all very sweet and whatnot. He's having a good time. The bell over the entrance of the shop rings and the door opens. Rover looks over and is kind of blinded by a white light, but he's able to make out a young half-orc girl. It's Ella, Roland's deceased daughter, and she's holding a guitar very familiar to Rover. It's his guitar, or rather, Ella's guitar. And then Rover wakes up. Blood is dripping over his right eye, there's chaos going on all around him, which I'll get back to in a second. Below Rover is a dead person. Rover was spared from whatever killed this guy, but yeah. In the center of arena, Rover is able to see someone swinging around his incredibly rare, incredibly expensive guitar. So, upon seeing this, Rover takes a knife off of the dead person below him, and then throws it at the throat of the person holding his guitar. The guy holding his guitar drops to the ground, not seeming to be dead, but I think that he bleeds out later, and drops the guitar. So, Rover's able to get that back. Now, to explain all of the chaos from earlier, here's basically what goes down. First off, Aaliyah gets grabbed by one of the seashell devices and pops out of existence after dropping all of her things. Hila sees this happen, grabs Aaliyah's things, and then uses a seashell to eliminate herself. Josephina and Fizz are together, fighting alongside and trying to protect each other. Josephina has some kind of short sword or dagger. I don't know what it is. I know that she had some sort of bladed weapon, but I don't remember what specifically, and this is going to be a running theme throughout this one. I don't care enough to ask the DM. We'll find it out in the future. But her weapon is covered in blood, so it's implied that she may have killed the people, but we don't really know. Also, 2 people from one of the other groups are just going crazy and they're murdering a ton of people. There's also someone trying to take Desire and a girl who's holding Fidus. Notably, Fidus has a cut on his back leg. Seeing what's going on with the girl and Fidus, Beat uses Gust to push them both out of the stables. The girl drops Fidus, so Beat's able to go over to him. Cutting away from them, we'll go to Azriel, who's going to go try and protect Puppy. But as he does so, he's punched across the face by a muscular woman. The woman, who seems oddly similar to Yvette, pins Azriel to the ground and begins to strangle him. Azriel starts to cry, and whatever's beneath his mask starts experiencing some kind of burning sensation in response to the tears. A man beside the woman cuts off Azriel's mask, revealing his face. The skin on the left side of Azriel's face is essentially torn off, exposing the muscles and teeth. Everybody sees this, I think. I actually don't remember if there's a single person who failed to see this. Puppy then kicks off Azriel's attackers, killing them. Going back to Beat, who is just done checking in with Fidus, I can't remember if she was able to go help Azriel or just deciding that she was going to go help Azriel, but there's some intent to help Azriel here. But as she's doing this, she gets hit by one of the seashell devices by the girl who had taken Fidus. In her last few seconds before disappearing, Beat shoots the girl straight between the eyes and then vanishes. Beat and Fidus are transported to a cave with ruins of an old civilization. Bright light streams above from a spiral staircase, and there are pictures going up. One of these is one of the paintings from Session 3, with a woman enveloping a lifeless planet. Now, going away from those two, we'll go to Lyraver. A lanky elven man with one of the Zorgal keyhole markings is approaching him. He's able to get close enough to Lyraver and steal his... I don't know how to say that. It's a dagger. It's essentially a dagger. Lyraver punches him, which causes him to drop the dagger. Two more people start to approach Lyraver, a buff orc man and a chubby tiefling girl. Rover sees these people approaching and rushes over to Lyraver, setting a thunder wave at the approachers after calling out to Lyraver to dodge it. Lyraver dives to avoid it, landing next to the muscular guy who also managed to get out of the way. Lyraver then starts wrestling with the twink and manages to get his dagger back, and then casts Channel Divinity to stop him from being able to go more than 30 feet away from him. So he's keeping this twink close to him. But after this, the buff guy punches Lyraver in the face and then lifts him off the ground so that the twink can start trying to steal Lyraver's ring. This doesn't really work. He takes Lyraver's dagger and tries to remove the ring by sawing off Lyraver's finger, which also doesn't really work out, mind you, because this kind of dagger isn't meant for sawing. It's literally meant for stabbing people in the neck. That's about it. So it's a pretty grotesque scene all the way. Lyraver then erupts into white flames, and in his place stands a shadowy figure. This version of Lyraver has 6 pairs of black wings which stretch to the sky, mirrors on them reflecting his surroundings. His eyes are bright white, and around his neck is a spiked collar. All across the arena we can hear his heartbeat pounding. Lyraver then takes his dagger back, it becoming chipped and quote-unquote duller in the notes. When I say duller, I think it might have become darker in some way, maybe a little desaturated. But it changes when Lyraver touches it, and he uses it to stab both the elven man and the orc in the throats, effectively killing them. Across the arena, Josephina has fallen to her knees, her right arm having been cut off by the girl that Beat shot. Because, that girl's not dead. Getting shot between the eyes? No, that's fine, she's still alive. After committing this terrible atrocity, the girl clamps herself with one of the seashells and disappears. Fizz runs up to Josephina, grabbing her face and just sobbing. He uses his scarf to try to stop the bleeding, but, it's a cut-off limb. It's not going to do much of anything. Suddenly, Fizz freezes, Josephina having stabbed him with a knife. She says that she's going to win and then clamps one of the seashells onto Fizz's ear, making him disappear. Josephina then stands up, holding the knife, looking enraged yet also elated. She stares down Azriel, who is rightfully a little bit frightened of her. He backs up and asks her if she's okay. She says that, yeah, she is, and she seems to hold the belief that there can only be one survivor because of what Eve said about there being a last man standing. She puts Azriel into an ultimatum and tells him to use the seashell machine to get out of this or she'll kill him. So, not wanting to die, Azriel clamps himself with one of the seashells and disappears. Josephina then makes for Lyraver, with Rover standing between the two. Rover tries to reason with Josephina, asking if she really believes if this is the way to win, let alone if she can even manage to defeat this terrifying version of Lyraver. But she seems to think so. Josephina starts rambling here, going on about how Aaliyah told her that Fizz has to win, and this seemed to kind of tip her over the edge, because Fizz has just been getting all sorts of good things. He gets money from Colorin, he gets to have a partner in Rover, he gets to keep winning sticks whenever they play little games. And Josefina gets nothing. She's homeless. She gets sexually assaulted by Devilish Sprinkle. She gets her arm cut off, so now she can't even beat Fizz at sticks anymore. It's just loss after loss after loss, and she needs to win this. She wants to be a winner. Rover seems to understand that there's nothing he can really do to convince her otherwise. And all he can really do is see what happens, and chances are she won't make it out of this alive. So he uses a seashell on himself, and just before disappearing, Rover realizes that there are no more of these contraptions left around the arena, leaving Josefina and Lyra to potentially kill the other, seeing as they're not on the same team. The whole crowd then starts leaving the stadium, and Eve gets taken away by her little henchmen. Lyra drops Necrotic Shroud and returns to his normal self. He tries talking to Josefina here. First he tries convincing her that they can just leave, but Josefina wants to win. But he keeps talking with her, and eventually he's kind of able to get her to calm down, and, she realizes that she's crashing out and stabbing her brother over sticks. So they've made up, and Lyra heals her, and it's alright? ? Cutting back to the group that is in the cave, Rover immediately heads to Fizz and lets him know what's up with Josefina, and how she's crashing out over sticks. Rover then also catches everyone else up on the situation that's going on in the arena, and he tells them that, well, one of their friends might be dead when they walk out. Beat heals Fizz, and the party head up the stairs where they're able to see more of the pictures that are on the walls. One of them is of two sisters fighting, the second is of a woman and man walking away from the two sisters, and the third is of the woman and man circling the same planet from the first image, only this time the planet has life on it. The crew then come out to a little market area where they're able to see everyone leaving the stadium. Eve yells at us to control our friend, and which friend in particular is kind of unclear. Beat then wild shapes into a bird and flies down into the arena, landing next to Josefina. Josefina asks if Beat can fix her arm, which, isn't gonna be possible. The rest of the party go down to the arena and start grabbing their things. Fizz and Josefina start talking about what happened while some Desire-related shenanigans start going on. Desire is kind of going through a character arc, believe it or not. She kind of respects Lyra now and is also frightened of him, and Beat is trying to get her to trust Lyra now. During this whole situation, there's a ton of implications that Desire is a person stuck in wild shape form, and now she has to be a horse for Lyra. After the whole Desire trust arc, Rover goes and finds Tony in the stables. She's fine, and she slept through literally everything. So yet again, after everyone's gotten all their stuff out of the stupid bone cage, everyone leaves the arena again, and they find Aaliyah and Hila waiting with the carriage. Aaliyah is mortified by what we did down there. I guess she saw what went down. I don't remember how specifically, but she saw what was going on. She saw Lyra turning to a massive shadow, and she saw multiple murders go down and whatever the hell was going on. And she also tells us that the girl that took Josefina's arm was part of the staff, which is crazy, but okay. Also, she tells us that normally only about 2 murders happen, and the only reason that there are more murders going on is because the people that were choking out Israel just kind of went crazy and went on a murder spree, so that's why things went kind of bad. After this, I'm gonna be real, nothing important happens. The party starts trying to threaten Eve and get information out of her, and she doesn't say anything to us, so it's not important at all. Genuinely, this went on for half an hour, and I wish it had stopped sooner. But after all that, everyone gets into the carriage, and they freaking leave, and they're heading for Pacha. Whoop-de-doo. Me from the future here, I was going to stop the video there, but I just want to quickly be like, dude, what the hell just happened? Actually, crazy things going on. We get Israel face reveal, we get Lyra turning into Scary, and we get Josefina with her arm cut off. I'm scared, guys. I'm a little bit frightened. Next session will maybe be okay. The one after that? But it's fine. It's fine, guys. We're going to the beach. Guys, it's okay. It's okay.